When Muslims say that God had sex with Mary to have a child, we Christians find this offensive to say.
Blasphemy!
But Muslims say it anyway, and the police let them do it. And if there's one thing I don't like, it is a man that can't keep to his word. Even Sam's clapping. Even Sam's clapping. So what we see again and again, there is a suppression of speech for the non-Muslims wherever Muslims are allowed to enshrine Sharia law or Islamic culture on other groups. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk about what happened 2 weeks ago in the park, where a Christian sister and missionary was wearing a t-shirt that could be fairly described as offensive to Muslims. And she was surrounded by a mob of Muslim men who were being aggressive towards her, and the police arrested her and took her away on account of causing a breach of the peace. And I just want you to consider, ladies and gentlemen, what are the implications of the police acting in this way in response to mob aggression? What this means is that we have a curtailing of free speech in the United Kingdom, a curtailing of free speech in the home of free speech, which is known as Speaker's Corner. We have the development of policing by the mob, the idea that the mob can decide what is socially acceptable and what is not socially acceptable. We've seen it increasingly in the UK. We saw a mob force the police to release illegal immigrants in Glasgow. We saw mobs attack Tommy Robinson when he was politically campaigning in the north of England, marched to that political rally by the police. We saw mobs attack and silence free speech here in the park 2 weeks ago when they surrounded a Christian woman because she was wearing an offensive t-shirt. Now, ladies and gentlemen, just think about the hypocrisy that you have seen from the Muslim community on this topic. The same Muslim community cries Islamophobia, Islamophobia, Islamophobia when the French Republic curtails free speech and the freedom to dress how you want in France. They curtail the wearing of the niqab. They curtail the wearing of the head veil, the hijab. They curtail the covering of the face. And when the French Republic does this to the Muslim community in France, the Muslim community in Britain cries out Islamophobia. But that same Muslim community has silenced the right for a Christian woman to wear what she wants in this park just 2 weeks ago. What kind of hypocrisy is it that we are seeing? This same Muslim community silenced a teacher in the north of England who was attempting to teach his students about blasphemy and showed them the cartoons about Muhammad. He then received death threats from the Muslim community, protests outside the school. The school had to shut for fear of violence against its staff and its pupils. And what has the state done in each of these occasions? The state has cowered before the mob. And why has the state cowered before the mob?
Why?
Because the liberal progressives of our society are a collection of spineless, yellow-bellied cowards who are so frightened of upsetting the Muslim community in the UK that they cower before them again and again and again. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to state for the record that I am a Christian, and that as a Christian, amongst the Christian community, we don't believe in freedom of speech. You can't come to a pulpit in one of our fellowships and just say whatever you want. You can't come into our churches and just insult the Lord Jesus Christ. But we accept that we don't live in a Christian country here. We accept that if we want the freedom to preach the gospel, we accept that you have the right to wear t-shirts that we find offensive. And you do. You can buy them on Amazon. You can buy them on eBay. T-shirts that insult the Christian faith. But those same companies will not sell t-shirts that insult the Islamic faith. Why? Because they are managed and governed by the same political establishment, by the same political elites that cower in front of the Islamic community. Ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing in the UK is the slow erosions of your freedom. And it is happening whilst you are wide awake. And it is happening because you have failed to draw the lines between the dots. Let me give you an example. This year in Jordan, they celebrated, I think, some national civic ceremony. I think it was their independence or the day of the monarch. It's a civic celebration open to all members of Jordanian society. The Christians came along and put up Christian banners quoting from the Bible in Jordan.
And what happened?
This was deemed offensive by the Muslims in Jordan, and the Christians had to take down their banners at a non-religious event.
Ooh.
Ladies and gentlemen, in Malaysia, Christians are forbidden to use Allah as a term to refer to God.
Okay.
Despite the fact that in Malaysian culture, everybody uses the word Allah to refer to God. So what we see again and again and again is that there is a suppression of speech for the non-Muslims wherever Muslims are allowed to enshrine Sharia law or Islamic culture on other groups.
Perfect.
We saw it in Malaysia. We saw it in Jordan. We see it in Pakistan, where Muslims regularly offend Christians, but riot in the streets in anti-Christian pogroms if Christians are so much as accused of saying something offensive. Whether they did or they didn't is irrelevant to the point. And here in the UK, we are seeing examples of free speech being eroded by the progressive elites. The European Court of Justice recently enshrined in law that free speech and freedom of expression is not a protection under the law if you say that Muhammad is a paedophile. In other words, even though it's true, legally they'll call it hate speech. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what your leaders are leading us into. You have to free your mind.
You're not in the EU.
You have to free your mind. You have to free your mind from the liberal establishment. You have to free your mind from the progressive elites. You have to free your mind from the liberal worldview. What we need in Europe is a rediscovery of a muscular Christian faith. One that is not frightened to stand up to the Muslim community and is willing to say that we are going to be willing to offend you. Because you offend us all the time.
Where does it come from?
When Muslims
Where does it come from?
say that the Trinity is a belief in three gods,
They will say that.
we Christians find this offensive. When Muslims say that God had sex with Mary to have a child, we Christians find this offensive to say.
Blasphemy!
But Muslims say it anyway, and the police let them do it.
No fucking idea, dude.
What the liberals don't feed the trolls, guys, you're just encouraging him.
Give him a fucking
What the liberals are leading us into is a loss of our freedom. And whilst ever you are attached to the idea of a liberal worldview. Right. Guys, I'm going to move over here. If you want to listen to this guy, stay here, listen to him. If you want to listen to me and the rest of what I've got to say, I'm going to move over there.
He's scared. He's running away.
Who invited you?
When I'm not here,
You did.
he's not confident.
Nobody
When he
did.
sees the Bible,
So, ladies and gentlemen,
he's sweating his pants.
what you have to
He's
do
sweating his pants.
is free yourself from the liberal worldview.
Who comes here?
That is what you've got to do. Ladies and gentlemen,
Who maligned
the
Rasul?
liberal worldview is the one
He's scared
that
of the
is
Bible.
destroying Western
He's sweating
culture.
his pants.
No,
He's
ladies
sweating
and
his pants.
gentlemen,
Ask him to do
we need to recover
You're coming to me.
a muscular Christian faith,
He's here, listen,
a
debate.
strong Christian identity,
Debate from the Bible.
so that we are willing to defend our freedoms.
Your opponent Mansour.
You
and
can
rest.
either
You don't follow
live
me.
on your
Why
feet
don't follow me?
or live
Because you know I
on your
respect you.
knees.
I'll expose
That
you.
is the choice that you
Read
have,
your Bible.
ladies and
Here's it.
gentlemen.
I'm
The
confident.
police have been politicized. The police have been politicized. We are allowing mob justice to take control of our society.
Here is Bob. But he can debate. Right now he's talking about
The
Trinity. He
police
can debate about
have
Trinity.
taught us,
He can-
ladies and
he
gentlemen,
cannot, as you can
that
see,
if you want them to take seriously what you have to say,
evil things
you have to
about
act
Prophet
like a
Muhammad.
mob.
But look at him.
Because if you complain
Every week.
like an individual, they will ignore you.
Every week you're heckling them.
But if you
When I
act
come
like
here,
a
you
mob,
never come to heckle me.
then the police will
I'll
act.
show you your Bible.
Is that the society that you want to live in? Do you want to live in a society ruled by the mob,
Can you debate?
ruled by the Islamists?
You talk about
No, you don't.
Said the Muslims. Said
So what you have to do, ladies and gentlemen, is rediscover your unity in the body of Christ.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Classical liberalism
Let's debate.
is a waning force.
I will quote 50 verses.
Individuals
50.
cannot stand up against the corporate bloc of the Islamic community. We must form strong Christian communities, strong local Christian communities, bodily in geographical spaces that influence the economics, the politics, and their society. We, clubman Christianity, will not cut the fight that is coming down the track to us.
You can't debate with me. You're following my
The
rules.
demographics
You're
of
following
France, Germany, and England
For me,
are all telling us
study your Bible.
that there is a problem coming in France, Germany, and England. Don't believe me. Go and look at France. They're already talking about a civil war. Go and look at France. They're already talking about widespread civil disobedience.
He wants me to pay him.
But
He
Muhammad Ali
wants
condemned
me on
this
the pound.
behavior. Muhammad Ali
Look,
condemned this
they're
behavior.
scared. He's scared.
Now notice, ladies and gentlemen,
We notice, Bob.
the double standards of members of the Dawah team.
That's it. Now look at him.
They accuse me of interrupting. And what does Lamin the troll do?
Saying evil things.
Let me
We
explain
the Muslims.
why I will not debate this troll.
Why,
We believe in
Bob?
all the prophets.
Because this troll
We revere
is
them.
not a man of his word.
If you can call himself a Muslim,
This troll
say anything bad, anything
owes me £500
Isa alayhi salam was one of the largest.
and he still haven't paid the money.
Nothing.
You want money?
Where's the money? Where's the money?
I pay you debate.
Pay.
I'm not interested in talking to
Can
you.
I pay you debate? Because I expose you.
No.
He's a fool.
I'm going to
He
say
can't
it to your
debate, he
face.
can't debate.
Do you want to hear why I won't debate you?
He can't
Let me
debate.
say it to your
No,
face.
He can't debate.
Let me say it to your
He
face.
can't debate. You have nothing to debate.
He doesn't see, he doesn't even want to hear.
nothing to debate.
Here's why I won't debate this man.
YouTube. Check me and him.
I have exactly zero respect for him. I have no respect for this man. He is a coward. He doesn't keep to his word. And if there's one thing I don't like, it is a man that can't keep to his word. So ladies and gentlemen,
I'm there to coffee.
even Sam's clapping. Even Sam's clapping.
Goodness, 20 pounds. Wallah, I'll give it to you. Go buy coffee. You need money.
Ladies and gentlemen, classical liberalism
1,000 pounds abroad.
cannot stand up to against Islamic supremacy. It has no response to Islamic and Islamization. Nothing. Liberal progressive ideology is in bed with Islamization.
Don't even come to him.
There is only one ideological response to Islamization, and that is a muscular Christian faith. That is what we need in this country. Because Christianity unites us as a body. Black, white, Latino, Chinese, Pakistani, Indian, African, Asian, European, American, all united in Christ against Islamization. We must make our faith so strong in the economic system, so strong in society, in its cultures, in its customs, so strong in the legal system, so strong in the police force, so strong in the military. It simply suppresses the Islamists. That is the response that we need. That is the response that we need. So, any questions? Any questions?
Any questions? You say like you sound like Hitler.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have been lied to by the liberal establishment, and you need to free your mind from the lies. See the world as it truly is. Draw the lines between the dots. Learn the history of the church under Islamic caliphates, and you will see the future. One possible future if we don't mobilize, organize, train and resist.